Hello, guys. Welcome to my channel. You too can manifest your dream life. Today, I have an amazing guest, a coach, a mentor with Proctor Gallagher Institute, one of my amazing mentors who has helped me tremendously in the past couple of years. I'm so excited to have him here. We're going to learn a ton from him. He is someone who really knows how to help people achieve the results that they want in their life. I'm gonna pass it on to him. Cameron, welcome to my channel.
Helia, it's great to connect with you, and thank you for having me join. Yeah, it's been 2 years, but you know what's been interesting is at the beginning when we first met, we communicated quite often, and then you took off. You had massive change in your image, in your results, and you really started to take this material to heart and implement it and start changing behaviors, start changing the way you think. Your whole image grew, and I can see it just even the last couple of years that this whole new image has you're expressing it with I love the energy, I love the intuition, I love the passion, I love the attitude. So it's wonderful. I'm excited to get to know the new Helia because since then we haven't communicated as often here and there, just through text message and voice notes, which I love. So I am looking forward to this interview, and thanks for asking me to join.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, Cameron, and thank you so much for noticing. Thanks to you and your coaching, and thanks to Bob Proctor and the amazing material that he has left us. It took me a while, to be honest. And I was thinking today because I didn't realize, I thought that's the case for everybody. It takes, for me, I would say it took over a year, maybe close to 2 years
Hmm.
to really internalize this material, to really embody this material and to really live it. And I'm no expert. We still have all of us. I think there is no end to this personal growth. But I realized today, actually, I was at the gym, I was thinking about it. Why did it take so long for me? Maybe thinking into results program should be a 2 year program instead of a 6 months program. And I realized why. Because I didn't study every day. I
Okay.
studied a couple of days a week. I was not consistent. I listened to a lesson and I thought I know it,
Yeah.
and I heard it and I understood it on a conscious level. And I didn't do the repetition, which is something that I consistently tell my clients, that you need to fight the mind that doesn't want to do the repetition. Believe
Mhm.
me, the key is in the repetition. And as much as I heard it from you, from Sandy, all the amazing people, that you have to do the repetition, I didn't do it. I resisted. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people go through. Just because we learn something, we read it once or twice or even 10 times, and we understand it consciously, doesn't mean that it is internalized, doesn't mean that our subconscious has
That's right.
changed. So that was the issue, but I'm so grateful that I stick with it and I didn't switch, because some people come and they leave and they go do other things. And I'm always learning and growing, and I'm studying Kabbalah recently. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a spiritual program. Everything that I study and I teach, I find similar things, maybe different terminology in the thinking
Okay.
into results. And
Yeah.
it's so amazing. I love this program. But I don't want to talk about me today. I want to talk about you. You've been my mentor and my coach, but there's a lot I don't know about you. I want to know your journey. How did you start? What was it that led you to personal development first,
Yeah.
and then Bob Proctor? I would love to know that.
Of course. Yeah. So I would say I first started following Bob Proctor in 2018. So prior to that, Helia, like I had no idea the depths of personal development. So my idea of personal development was if you put out positive, then you're going to get positive back. Like that was it. My idea of a goal was I can't wait to make it to the weekend. I can't wait until it's Friday and then it's my weekend. Like that was my goal. And so I didn't know the depths of what you and I teach, what Bob teaches, and how far that you can really grow. So at the time, I was in a completely different industry. Okay. I didn't even know I wanted to be a coach. I was in turf grass maintenance. So what did I do? I took care of golf courses. I maintained sports fields, and I did it for 20 years. 20 years of my life. That's, almost
Wow.
half my life that I was in that career. And I did my post-secondary education, agronomy, soil science. I went to school, and I thought it was a career that I wanted. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. Many parts of it I did enjoy. I enjoyed, the networking, I enjoyed the people, I enjoyed the work, I enjoyed the responsibility. But I came to a point where something inside of me was like, I want more. I don't know what that is, but I felt it. I was like, I want something more. I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. Prior to that, I had lost my home. I claimed bankruptcy and I was 120,000 in debt. So everything was going backwards. My health was deteriorating. My relationships, everybody that loved me, kept pushing them away. And so that's when inside I was like, I'm not living a fulfilled life. And so what my solution was, Helia, was I thought I needed to go earn more money, solve all my problems, right? If I could just earn more money, I would eliminate this bankruptcy, I would eliminate my debt, it would solve all my problems. So I went into network marketing
Which
and
year was that?
this was in 2018.
Okay.
2018 was when I started getting into network marketing. The interesting thing about that was I was so closed-minded that I had, my wife was in network marketing. I had friends that were in network marketing, but I felt like in my mind it was a scam. It didn't work
Hmm.
because I didn't understand. I was closed-minded to all kinds of opportunities. I was closed-minded to, the law of compensation where you earn money through service provided. Well, a lot of network marketing provides wonderful service. Anyways, I got into it. And one thing led to another was the company I was working with introduced me to a book called The Magic. The Magic was written by Rhonda Byrne, and Rhonda Byrne also wrote The Secret. So I read The Secret, and then I watched The Secret, and then I saw this wonderful man named Bob Proctor, and I was like, who is this guy? And then I started typing his name in Google and I started watching YouTube videos. I had never heard anyone talk like that before. And it just blew my mind. I was like, this is incredible. I need to be closer to this information. So what did I do? I signed up for a paradigm shift event. This was when he was still traveling to LA or Toronto and teaching paradigm shift. I watched it virtually with my wife for 3 days. And then I was hooked. I said, I need to get into this environment. I don't know how I need to do this, but I just need to do it. So in 2019, I signed up for the year-long coaching. I was on a call with my mentor, with my success advisor. He told me, he said, hey, if you want to change, let us help you. Get involved in our coaching. Your way's not working. Trust our way. We can help you. And that's the catalyst for my whole life taking off because in 3 months, I found my purpose. I wanted to teach this, just like you. I wanted to coach and help other people. I felt significant change in my image in the first 3 months. All I wanted to do was teach other people. And that year alone, that's when I made a decision to start my own coaching business. I became a consultant with Procter Gallagher. I eliminated my bankruptcy that year. And then shortly after, I made the scary decision of leaving my job, my career of 20 years in an industry that's all I knew. I left it. I quit, I resigned, and then I became full-time coach in 2020.
That's amazing. Yes, I realize sometimes you have to burn the boats. You have to quit. You cannot be one foot in, one foot out. You're not gonna see the results. And just imagine if you didn't make that decision, how would your life look like today?
Well, I'd probably be doing the same thing because it's interesting when you were talking about how it took you a year or maybe 2 years. That's with everybody because our old conditioning, our old paradigm, our old image, it's always going to pull us back, right? No matter how much we want to try and change, that's its job. Its job is to come in and pull you back and say, you're not going to do this. And you're going to come up with all kinds of stories, excuses, reasons why you can't do this. So if I kept doing what I was doing, if I didn't make a decision, I wouldn't be able to fully express myself and be where I am now. I would be, like you said, one foot in, one foot out. I would always have this plan B, like, well, I could always keep doing what I'm already doing if this didn't work out. No, no, no. You have to make a committed decision. And, to add to that, doing this and that is good advice. Because I remember when I first started my coaching business, I didn't make the decision right away. But I remember Bob always said, he said, do this and that. If you still like your job, you know, work your job and build your business until you can replace your income. And I did that for about 10 months. But then I felt something. And he told me, he's like, trust yourself, trust your intuition. I felt something. And about 10 months later, I was no longer fulfilled at my work. I felt like it was holding me back from doing more. And that's when I knew I've got to make this decision right now because I no longer want to do this and that. I just want to focus on building my business and putting all my energy and attention to that. So I felt it. I knew it. But prior to that 10 months,
Mhm.
I enjoyed doing both. I didn't have that feeling. I felt like, okay, I could build my business part-time. I could still work full-time. I can still do both. It still felt right. But then 10, 11 months later, I felt it. And then that's when I made the decision.
So important. That feeling, I know exactly what you're talking about because it's something similar that happened to me when I started becoming a consultant. I still had my real estate business. And for a while, maybe for a year, I was doing, or just less than a year, I
Hmm.
was doing both. And to some point, I was okay. But then that feeling that you're talking about, I started resisting my real estate business, really not wanting to go to listings, not wanting to show property to clients. And I thought,
Yeah,
I'm not doing them any favor. I'm really starting to resist that and not enjoy that anymore. It's not good for me, it's not good for the clients, and I have to quit. And I think we all know when that feeling comes up, but it's a great idea to at the beginning for anyone who's watching this, because me and you, we talk to people all the time. I talk to people who have a dream, have a desire, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, and they are just scared to act upon it. You
hmm,
don't need to quit everything, leave your job or your income and start a business. Do both at the beginning. And then you will automatically get to the point that you see where your heart is, and it's going to be easy for you to follow your heart and start your business.
that's right.
And you mentioned something about when you were going in maybe 2018 or a little bit prior, you had a hard time, you were in debt, your health was not good, and your relationships and everything was kind of falling apart, and you were probably in a lot of pain physically, emotionally, mentally, financially.
Hmm.
Would you agree that those are actually great moments in time in life? The pain causes us to make a better decision and to change things. And if that never happens and we're kind of comfortable, usually we don't change anything, right?
That's a great point you bring up. It's a really great point. Um, it is a blessing if you're aware of it. See, at the time I wasn't aware of it. So at the time I was a victim to my situation because I thought, why me? Why am I going through all this pain, all this suffering? And so I was getting emotionally involved with the wrong ideas. Now that I'm aware of it, I can reframe it in my favor. I can use perception in my favor. And anytime I feel like I'm in a negative state, or if I feel fear or anxiety, I know it. I understand it now. And I can say, well, wait a minute. This is a good opportunity here because this is telling me that there's room to grow. This is telling me I'm getting emotionally involved with the right ideas. This is telling me that I need to make a shift. So being aware of that is the blessing, is the gift. But at the time, it wasn't. Sometimes we go through emotional impacts, and emotional impacts can change our paradigm. Our paradigm is changed through an emotional impact or through the repetition of new ideas, new behaviors. So if we go through an emotional impact, whether it's a death, bankruptcy, even the
Hmm.
pandemic was an emotional impact for a lot of people. We can
Hmm.
change our paradigm. We can change the way we think. We can change the way we do things. And so for me, that was an emotional impact because I hit a point, when I said, I'm so sick and tired. Enough's enough. I got to do something. Like if I keep doing what I'm doing, nothing's going to change. And so I think that's what helped me make the decision, as well as, my success advisor, my coach at the time. He really helped me make that committed decision because at the time, the year-long coaching, Elia, I didn't have the money. I thought that was a lot of money because I was already 120,000 in debt. I had no savings. I had no credit. I couldn't even borrow from the bank. Like, so when I was told the investment of the year-long coaching, it scared me. I was like, I don't know what's, but the interesting thing was when he helped me, when you make a committed decision, you put yourself onto a frequency, a frequency of what you want. You start attracting ideas, opportunities, resources, whatever it is that you need. But in 3 days, I did find the money for that. And I paid for that entire investment in full.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of times people come to my events and they really want to join the program, but they have the money issue, the financial issue. And so we know it is the decision problem, right? If
Hmm.
it's the example that Bob gives about people wanting to buy a home and they say they don't have the money, and he says, "Why do you want the money? You haven't decided yet."
Yeah.
It's exactly as you said, and why decision making is so important. The decision article in Thinking into Results program is one of the things that I ask my clients to read again and again, because exactly as you said, when you make a different decision, you're not behaving on the frequency as your previous self. You are now acting, behaving, vibrating as a different version of yourself.
Hmm.
It's like you are in a parallel, the other another parallel universe, so you are seeing other resources that you wouldn't see if you didn't make the decision.
That's right.
Decision making so important. And also to your point, if someone is going through a hard time, there's a lot of hardship happening in the world, um, economy. People are really pressed financially, um, and we were talking about the pain and having a hard time that is actually a blessing, because you can shift your paradigm and step into a better version of yourself. But the key is exactly to your point, to really be aware that nothing is happening to you. Everything
Hmm.
is happening for you. And don't get stuck in that victim mentality, because that's the dangerous, very dangerous zone. Because I've seen people who can get stuck there for years and years, being the victim of event, situation, and circumstances. What would you say for someone who's stuck right now, watching this, and they really want to change things, they really want to go after their dreams, they really want to make more money? What do you say are the first few steps, maybe in their mindset or their actions? Where do they start? They have a dream, but they have like financial difficulty. They don't know where to start.
Absolutely. That's a good question. And just, you'd inspired me to think about something just before I get into that question, going back to that decision. You know, everything does change when you do make a committed decision. But I think most people, they don't make the decision for whatever it is, an investment for a business, an investment to find the money, because it all stems with our image. So they don't feel worthy of it yet. But I always
Mm-hmm.
reframe it, Helia. I always ask people, I said, That's fine. I understand. It's a very scary decision, especially when you're looking at your current circumstances. But, imagine you had a close family member, or if you had if you had children. Imagine, I know this is, you don't want to imagine this, but this is just hypothetically. I say, imagine that they had, a hospitalization or they needed medical attention and it was going to cost $10,000 to help cure them, to help fix whatever that problem is. You wouldn't say no. You would probably do whatever it takes to find the money. Wouldn't you agree? And all of them would be like, You're right, I would. I wouldn't just say, Well, no, I'll wait until after the holidays. No, you wouldn't do that because this person needs that attention. So they would do whatever it takes to find the money. Well, then I would say, well, why don't you value you as much as you value them? Prioritize you. If your goals are important, then you would value yourself. Why wait? And that's just part of the image. So that's just helping somebody, raise their
That's such a
image,
good
feel
point.
more worthy. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
That's such a great point. I never thought about decision in this way. You're right, because our decisions, where are our decisions coming from? our own self-image.
Hmm.
Why do I decide to invest in myself or not? Because if I value myself, I would invest in myself, right? And why do you think people have, I think that's the reason why some people have a hard time to invest in coaching or don't believe in coaching. They invest in material stuff, but they don't invest in coaching. Would you say that's because of the self-image?
Absolutely, because of the self-image. And they've accepted ideas, they inherited it from their environment through genetics. So if they've, grown up and they've been in an environment where nobody really accepts coaching, nobody's really gotten mentorship. It's just been sort of this taboo. Well, that's going to be a deep-seated belief in their subconscious mind. And so they
Mm-hmm.
don't feel it's important. They don't feel that they're worthy of it. I heard an example like, most people, they have what's an entertainment fund or they have an education fund. And most people will put a lot of money into the entertainment fund and they'll do things. They'll expense, they'll go out, they'll enjoy themselves, which is perfectly great. Like you want to celebrate, you want to go out and do nice things for yourself. But the balance is heavily weighed into the entertainment fund, and they're not focusing on the education fund. Because if you put more money investment into your education fund, if you grow, every part of your life grows, including this entertainment fund, including the celebrations. So you just have to start to prioritize what you want more. Is it short-term gain or is it long-term investment? Because long-term investment is your growth. Like like we talked about right at the beginning, there is no end to personal growth. There is no finish line. Once you achieve a certain goal, there's another 10 goals that you can keep going to. And once you achieve that, there's another 100 goals that you can keep going to. So there's no end line, there's no limit. So you can just keep growing and growing. And as you grow, remember, every part of your life grows. Your entertainment grows, your professional life, your personal life, spiritually, everything starts to increase.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And sometimes people say they do invest in their, let's say, their business, their marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads,
Hmm.
but they are reluctant to invest in themselves, and they wonder why they don't get the results. And they wasted all that money, thousands of dollars on Facebook ads.
It
Because
is.
your business is a reflection of you. You have to work
Yeah.
on yourself first.
That's a good point. And I remember, I mean, you and I talked about, business strategies and tactics, and we always go back to what are we thinking? We always go back to our image. I remember I had a client, a business owner. All he wanted to discuss was strategy. I think he had plateaued in his business, whatever he was earning annually. He was like, for years, this is what I hit for years. And he was convinced that the answer was, I just need better marketing. I need a better website. I need a better system in place. I need a better CEO. All these external things, he was convinced in his mind that that was going to improve it. And I said, well, how often in the last couple of years have you been changing things? And he's like, I've been changing things as often as it takes until I start to see the change. And I say, wouldn't you agree that you're still operating the same way? Wouldn't you still agree that you're still thinking and doing things the way you've always thought and done things? And he's like, well, I've never thought about that. And I said, well, your
Mm,
business is a reflection of you. It doesn't matter if you get a new CEO, if you get a different marketing strategy, you're still going to be thinking and doing the same way you've always been doing it. Your level of awareness is the same as it was 2 years ago. So you're still going to be expecting, producing the same results over and over again. So until you change that, nothing else is going to change. I say, don't get me wrong. Yeah, of course you need great promotion, great marketing, great CEO, great people, but you'll attract it. You'll get those opportunities as you grow. You're going to get into harmony with what you want. If you want your business to grow, you've got to grow first. And I think that really hit him.
yeah, and I think there's two ways of doing everything. Is hard work and hustle and grind and spending a lot of time and energy to get a result, or why don't we just change our self-image and paradigm and become a vibrational match to what we want so that we can attract everything, get the same result, still do the work, but with more ease and flow, you know? Life is
Yeah.
not supposed to be grind and hustle and hard work. And that's something that I had to really teach myself with going through thinking into results. And I would say maybe it's something that I am just recently mastering because I was such a hard worker before real estate, after real estate. In real estate, is just you have to compete with all these sharks and
Yeah.
it's a grind and hustle. So that was my character, my self-image, and I thought that's how life is. Um, it's interesting. I had a couple of live events and I worked really, really hard and I didn't get the result that I wanted. The previous one, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna work as hard. Let's see what happens. I didn't get the results I wanted. I worked hard. Let's see what happens if I don't work hard. And to my surprise, I got the result that I wanted, not working half the time, hiring someone part-time, delegating, just being in a really good headspace,
Yeah.
studying, working on myself, working out, going to the gym, and really having a good energy when I was on my live event. It's really
Hmm.
interesting that we have this paradigm still to this day of hard work and hustle,
Yeah.
um, which
You
is
know
so
what?
wrong.
You
Yeah.
you want to be effective too. I love that story. I love how you shared that story. And I was the same way, where I thought I needed to put in more hours, more time, grind it out to produce more. But that's not true. One of my mentors said, don't you believe that you could earn more income, do more, and work half? And I said, well, I believe that's possible. And she told me, she's like, well, don't you see that there's other people that are doing that? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And she's like, they're no different than you. So what's the difference? Why are you grinding this out? So here's what I come to realize too. I don't want to take anything away from work because you obviously have to work and put in the service, but it's all about energy. Okay, it's all about energy. I noticed for myself, Delia, when I was grinding it out, when I was working, if I wasn't seeing the results, I would start to entertain a negative idea and my energy would start to drop and my attitude
Hmm.
would start to drop. And I would start to entertain all these ideas like, oh my God, it's not working. It's not happening. Why? What? And I would keep trying to force the work, force the work. Well, what's happening now? I'm just going to keep attracting what I'm in harmony with, more bad energy, more bad attitude. So I'm not creating the results that I want. I have to get into the energy of what it is that I want. That way I can create and attract more good into my life. So when I catch myself feeling like, oh, you know what? I feel like I'm entertaining the wrong ideas here. I'll go and change my state. I'll go for a walk. I'll take a shower. I'll even change my clothes, but I'll do something different. I won't sit and try and force it. I'll change my state. I'll get my energy back to my image. I'll get my energy back to my goal achieved, but I won't sit there and try and force it because, all you can attract what you're in harmony with. And I don't want to attract more bad energy.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. If it is not working with hustle and grind, the more time you spend working harder and harder, it's not gonna work because exactly as you said, the energy behind what you do matters. You can
Yeah,
do the same amount of work, same amount of hours, get complete different results depending on which energy you're coming from.
that's right.
And I love those things that you said. So, what are other things that you do to shift your energy, feel that vibration during the day, walking in the nature, or maybe just what are your non-negotiables, routines, morning routines, evening routines that really put you in a great state of mind?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, something that I'd learned from one of my mentors is when I wake up right away, I set the intention right away of gratitude. Gratitude, because the best gift right away is I get another day. I woke up. I get to create another day. Like there are people that aren't waking up today, right? There are people that just don't get to wake up,
Yeah.
but I got to wake up. And so my intention right away was just immense gratitude. Like I have another day right now to create. And so I set that intention, and right away, gratitude is one of the highest frequencies. So now I'm setting myself up into the intention of, attracting more good. Then I'll usually hydrate and exercise in the morning. I want to get my body moving 20 to 30 minutes feeling good. And then after exercise, that's when I'll study. And I'll study like 30 to 40 minutes. And right now I'm studying an inner circle lesson with Bob. And then I'll get into a gratitude exercise where, I've got my gratitude pad right here. And then I just go through and I'm thankful for, the things in my life and the things that are coming into my life. And then I've got my other notepad right here, which I write down my self-image script. I write down my self-image script and then I journal all my wins and successes and what I've learned from the day before. And then I'll write out my goals. So that whole morning routine is about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So that first hour and a half to 2 hours puts me into a vibration, a good frequency of my goal, of my image. It gets the momentum off winning right away. And then the rest of the day, I'm already in a good vibration in a good space.
Hmm. What happens if something triggers you, something happens during the day and you feel like your vibration is going down? What do you do anything specific during the day?
Yeah, so the another great question. I will go for a walk. I'll take my dog for a walk. We'll just head out and enjoy nature, and I love that. Or, I've got a couple of, audios that I love to listen to. Sandy Gallagher sent me an audio. It's just a healing affirmation that she sent me, which is about 12 minutes, which I started to love because earlier this year and late last year, I went through just some health challenges. And so I was listening to that every day. So that gets me into a great state. Um, some advice that other people can do, gratitude is probably one of the best exercises. If you're feeling like things aren't going well or you're in a negative state, you can do gratitude. I know it might be hard because in the moment, if something is very challenging, your paradigm will resist. You won't want to sit there and try and be grateful for things. You'll probably be angry and be ungrateful. So the best thing to do is maybe to do something active, express it.
Mhm.
Don't internalize it, go and express it. Sometimes I've yelled into a pillow just to express it, or on my walks, I'll just kind of let it out. And I remember I got this idea from Bob. Bob said, if something was challenging him or if somebody was upsetting him, he would go for a drive and he would have a stern talking to that person in the car, but he would let it all out. He would express it. That person wouldn't be in the car, but he would just
Mhm.
imagine that that person who upset him would be in the car and he would just let it out and have a stern talking. So those are some things that you could do. You don't want to internalize it. I used to internalize it. If something was bad, I thought it was weak to internalize, to express it. I thought it was like weak to, share or express it. But now it's just you got to express it. You got to let it go. You got to create room for more good energy, right? So you got to just let it go.
Such a great point because everything is energy. You don't want to suppress your anger. You want to let it go, but not to other people, to your pillow or
Yeah,
when you're alone in your car.
that's
That's
right.
that's great. I love that. For someone who's watching this and they're thinking, well, there's a lot of information online for free. I love watching these YouTube videos. I'm learning a ton. So many amazing books, Think and Grow Rich, that has changed Bob Proctor's life. And I'm just going to get that. I'm just going to get the books and watch YouTube videos and self study and change my life and my results. Why do you think, what would you tell to that person? What is the value of having a coach, hiring a coach, instead of watching videos, reading all those amazing books?
It's such a great question. Such a great point. You know, you can read the books, you can watch the videos. It's a great start. you know you're getting exposed to new information, which is a great start because now you're consciously shifting focus and attention. But remember, it's not in the knowing part, it's the doing part. And the doing part is controlled in our subconscious mind. Most people, they don't know how to change the subconscious programming. So they're gathering information, they're reading all these books, they've got all these great ideas, but they're still doing the same thing. And the way they're gathering information is the way they've always gathered information. It's part of their paradigm, part of their programming. They're studying it the way they've always studied it. And yes, they're increasing their conscious knowledge, but their level of awareness and how to do it and how to achieve more hasn't changed yet. We've got to change the behaviors. We've got to change the way we think. That's why getting in the right direction is so important. That's why getting the right help is so important because we all have blind spots. We want to learn from another level of awareness, higher level of awareness. We want to learn from our mentor's paradigm, from our mentor's programming. And so we want to get into their energy and learn, through their experience and not do it on our own. Like if you look at any high achiever in any industry, they could be a CEO, they could be an athlete, an entrepreneur. They've all had help. They've all had mentorship. They've all had direction in their lives, right? So
Yeah,
I remember Bob always said, you know, he hasn't really met or knows of a person that has achieved great success on their own. He said it's possible because he doesn't believe anything's not possible. But he said, yeah, it's possible, but it's probably going to take that person a lot longer and they won't be as effective doing it.
much longer. Yeah, definitely. Because as you said, we all have our own blind spots. We all have our own perspective, and we see the world through our own lens, and we don't know where we are playing small or where to shift, where to change, because it's our perspective, it's the way we see the world. And unless we have a coach who can see us from another perspective, not doesn't matter how much we read, how much we study, how much information we gather in the conscious mind, really nothing happens on a deep level. Or if it nothing changes, or if it does, it's usually a short-term change, and
Mhm.
people see a little bit of result, but they go back to their previous result, and then they come to the conclusion that they are not special or they don't have the talent
Yeah,
that it takes, which is so wrong. We all have all the talents and abilities for uh, our next 20 or 30 lifetime. We
yeah.
just have to learn how to develop those.
I know that
Beautiful.
Bob he had 9 mentors in his life. 9.
Yeah,
And, in terms of changing paradigms, in terms of understanding how to reprogram the subconscious, I think he was the best teacher. I'm a little bit
definitely.
biased. I'm a little bit biased. There's wonderful teachers out there. There's wonderful mentors out there. There's wonderful coaches out there. But I really thought that, Bob was the best when it came to keeping it simple and understanding really how to express the most potential and change paradigms. But he still had mentors in his life. He had
Of
nine of
course.
them. And even myself, like, I've been studying this now for 5 years, this information, studying it at a high level. But I still get stuck, Helia. I do. I still get stuck. And it's so funny because when I go and talk to my mentor, they notice just one thing or one shift where I've been
Yeah,
focusing on the results. And they'll just ask me one question or do one thing, and I'll be like, that's
yeah.
it. I got it. This is what I need to shift.
That's so true. Just a small shift that we can't see on our own. So Cameron, for we have almost a month, around a month and a half, month and 10 days left to the end of 2024. And there are a lot of people who r- kind of think like we're getting into holiday season, and they slow down and they get ready for the holidays. But there are also a lot of people who think, okay, I need to really plan New Year coming. I'm really excited. I want to create a momentum. And I want 2025 be completely different. I want to finally manifest my dreams and really go for it.
Mhm.
what do you recommend for those people who want to pick the momentum and really use the best and make the best of the rest of 2024? What are some of your suggestions? Like what should they do? How should they plan for the new year? What should they work on? Or maybe tell
Absolutely.
us what is it that you do usually when we get close to the end of the year?
Well, I think all the prep work for a new year starts right now. Like for me, it started a month ago. It really
Mm-hmm.
did because, most people have the idea that once Christmas comes and New Year's Eve comes, they're going to create all these new goals, all these new big resolutions of change. And then they might change for the first few weeks, whether it's getting in better physical shape, whatever it is, but it's not permanent. They start going back into old habits. Like the prep work starts right now. If
Mm-hmm.
you want 2025 to be incredible, it starts right now. And if you have an opportunity, this is for your audience or anybody that's considering getting into some form of coaching or mentorship. If you have the opportunity, just make a decision. If it feels right in your heart that you can get the right help, just make a decision and get the right help. Do that right now. Don't let, the expenses of the holidays hold you back. Remember, you got to raise your image, feel worthy of it. But if you're not aware of the right mentorship or coaching yet, and you just want to create that success, well, here's what I can tell you. For next year, build an image of the life you want to live. Like build it out. Use your imagination. Build this perfect image. What would you be doing? Where would you go? Who would you be with? How would you be celebrating? And just start to create this picture. You can write it out, put it out on paper, but build it as if it's already done. Feel that it's already done. And then ask yourself, who do you need to become? Because that's the very important piece. You need to
Mm-hmm.
start becoming that person now. So whatever life you start to build out, be that person right now. Think like that person, make decisions like that person, have an attitude like that person, respond like that person. So anytime challenges come in, anytime distractions come in, just take a deep breath and ask yourself, well, if I already achieved what I want, how would I respond in this situation? What would that person do? And then respond like that person. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be aware of these negative emotions and feelings. We're human, but don't internalize it. Don't keep accepting it. Don't get into that energy where one day turns into 2 bad days, turns into a bad week, and then now you're just back into bad habits over and over again. So build the idea, build an image of what you want, use your imagination, then ask yourself, who do I need to become? And then every day become that person. It's not going to happen overnight, but become that person. Think,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions, make decisions, have an attitude, use your perception, respond to challenges. Just start being that person right now. Everything's going to change by the time 2025 comes. If you do it consistently every day, your whole world's going to open up. You're going to start to see things differently. Like your awareness is increased. You're going to start attracting new ideas and opportunities. So that's what I would suggest.
So good, so valuable. Thank you so much. I love that question. Who do I need to become? If we take 5 minutes every morning, think about the life that you want to create, and then ask yourself that question, who do I need to become and act like that person that day? Your life would be changed. That's
Mhm.
such a good question. And you touched on attitude, and it's a whole new conversation. I love the attitude lesson in the Lead the Field. And one of my mentors always, when he talked about attitude, he said, have a bulletproof attitude.
Oh,
No
yeah.
matter what happens, you are responsible for your own attitude. You can decide how to react or respond or what to do or what to say. We cannot control the events and situations that happen in life, but we can control our own attitude. And that's one of the characteristics of successful people. And I would love to bring you on again another day to just talk about attitude, maybe, and perspective also is So important. I
Of
love all
course.
these lessons, but I don't want to take too much of your time. If anyone watching this and they connect with you, they like your style and they want to learn more from you, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram. It's just Cameron underscore F underscore Watt, and it's verified with a check mark, so you'll know it's me. Um, there's a link there too where you can connect with me in my bio. They can also search me on Facebook. It'll be the same verified profile on Facebook, and I do have a free coaching group that I do have in there as well. So, just message me if you want to join the free coaching group. And there's a lot of great information, a lot of great content that I share from my mentors that you can just kind of implement, some ideas that you can implement into your life just to make some changes right now. So it's a wonderful group. So you can connect with me there and message me anytime.
Beautiful. And I will put the links in the show notes of this podcast so people can find you. Thank you so much again, Cameron. It was a pleasure having you, and I really appreciate you so much. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure's all mine, Helia. This was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next time.